Have I already made a video in the new year? I don't know. Anyway, Happy New Year. Just in case. Yeah, I don't think so because tree's gone. We usually take it down January 1st. Down. Gone. Away with it. We don't want it any longer. Especially this one. This sucker was needling from the day we got it. I don't know what happened. I watered it. I literally it's 20 minutes away from where we cut it. We cut it off. We put it in the car, drive it home. We put it in water instantly. And then it stays in water for half a day, and then we put it in the living room with more water in the holder, and it was needling like I'm gonna find Christmas needles until Easter or summer or whatever. Anyway, yes. Today I wanted to talk to you about a lens that I bought before Christmas. It was something that I had been waiting for the last 5 years. You may know that I've been using the Fuji mirrorless ecosystem for quite a few years now. I want to say 5-6 years. I don't know. The brand Fuji never had a proper macro lens. A macro lens that was a 1-to-1 ratio. They did make one. Oh, where is it? They did make one with the launch of the EX1. They brought out this 60mm macro lens. Very small. Okay, what am I gonna put this? Beautiful lens, fantastic lens. It's a 60mm f2.4, and it's very tiny. The 60mm is exactly what I wanted, but the problem with this lens is that it wasn't a 1-to-1 ratio. It was 1-to-2 ratio. So while it is a close-up lens, in my book, it doesn't qualify for macro, although it says macro. No, it doesn't, but it was sold as a macro lens. Then some other manufacturers came out and produced macro lenses that were 1-to-1. There's a 50mm from Zeiss, but that was only 50. I didn't want to go lower. I wanted to go a little bit higher up. I ended up buying a extender to put on the bottom of the lens. This is what that looks like. It's basically a ring without glass in it, okay, that you mount on the bottom of your lens. Basically, it's almost the same. You mount on the bottom of your lens, and then it gives you a little bit longer reach. It doesn't make it, oops, wrong, still doesn't make it very big. It's still a fairly small lens, okay, but it still doesn't give you 1-to-1 ratio. And I kind of never really liked the photos that this thing produced. For portraits and photography in general, great lens. But for macro photography, I was just spoiled by the 60mm Nikkor f2.8 that I used to have. And then Fuji announced a 1-to-1 ratio real macro lens, 80mm f2.8, water resistant, so you can use it in the rain with your camera because the Fuji X-T102 are rain proof, like downpour, not a problem. Water resistant, f2.8, internal optical stabilization, optical internal, I don't know, iOS it's called, I don't know, optical stabilization. And it would be coming out in November 2017. So when I heard that it was announced, I literally dropped everything, picked up the phone, called my camera dealer in Langley. Shout out to Kerrisdale Camera, hi. And pre-ordered the lens. I wanted that lens for as long as I owned Fuji cameras, which is a long time. And that was the missing link in my camera shelf, in my camera bag, in my camera repertoire. Is that a word? Well, yeah, when you have, okay, let's put this premise out. I am not a sports photographer, although my son plays soccer, but you take one soccer picture, you're good for the year. I am not a wildlife photographer because wildlife photography requires you to walk for long distances in the rain and the cold at night. No, I don't care about birds. Birds are nice, but I like, seriously, no. So I don't really need a long lens. What I like is landscape photography. So give me a wide angle, which I have. I have a 14 millimeter f2.8. It's really small, tiny. I got a whole set of filters for this camera, for this lens. You know, this is the big stopper in this smaller system from Lee. It's called 75 because it's 75 by, yeah, it doesn't really matter. I'm just saying, I'm equipped for that. I have my 56 millimeter f1.2 portrait lens that I use for portraits, and I also use for food photography. Yes, I also use this one for food photography, the 60 millimeter. Perfect for food photography. You don't need to get that close for food photography. And then I had the 27 millimeter lens for pancake, for when you really want to travel light. Like, this thing is like tiny, but it's so sharp, and when you're going somewhere and you don't want to carry a whole big lens and just the camera and throw it in your bag, perfect lens. And my trusted 35 millimeter. I have a love-hate relationship with this 35 millimeter f1.2, 1.4. I'm sorry. It is a great little lens, but I'm not 100% sure about that I don't have a dud. I don't know. I've never felt, there was always some ghosting with this lens, but I think that's what that lens does. So I'm thinking about maybe getting the smaller version, the f2.0 that just came out. I'm not sure. If I have money lying around and I don't need anything, then anyway, so all these lenses, what I really was missing was a proper macro lens. And so it came. Now, if you compare these two, it's ridiculous, okay? I switched from Nikon to Fuji because I wanted less gear to carry. This thing is bigger than the 16 millimeter Nikkor that I used to. It is bigger. It is longer. It's the same circumference, but it's longer. It's just, and oh my God, that thing is heavy. It weighs so much. But I am so happy about it because this thing rocks. I used it to take pictures at the basketball court indoors, to take pictures of my son playing basketball. I used to take pictures of of branches that were ice covered from further away. Obviously, macro photography in the classical sense is also not a problem. The lens is sharp. It's fast, like it's super duper fast, focused like that. So for somebody like me who takes macro photography exclusively without a tripod, I've never been one to bother with a tripod. I'll just take my camera and then I'll just different angles, and then one of those is good, and that's how I take my macro photography. Sorry. This macro lens is not going to come with me on hikes. It's not going to be in my backpack when I go traveling. This is a lens I'm going to use when I'm traveling in the car or around the house, or to take just particular macro photography. I'm not hiking with this thing. It's too big, but it's too good to pass. If you were wondering specifically if you should buy the Fuji /80mm macro or 60mm macro, f2.4, f2.8, 60/80, not waterproof, not stabilized. You hear the shaking? Okay. Light, small, heavy, big. I'm not going to tell you how heavy. You can look that up on the internet. It really depends on what you're planning to do with it. Studio photography, you bring items into your home to take pictures of, that kind of stuff, around the house, car travel. With car travel, I mean, you have it in your car, you stop at the location, you take it out, you take pictures, you put it back in the car. I'm not talking about hiking around. Don't even attempt. Like, don't. If you're in the Fuji system, you are in the Fuji system because you didn't want those big lenses anymore. So, it depends. It really is. If you're a macro photographer, you need this. Like bugs. I don't know. Anyway, this is my view. I love the lens. A great lens. Stay tuned on my Google Plus channel for some samples. I will take lots of pictures, I know, this coming year. But if you're a macro photographer and you're in a Fuji system, I think you can't go wrong with this lens. If you're serious about macro photography, that is. If you're not serious about macro photography, half price. This will do. But if you're serious, it won't, because I tried and it doesn't. So yeah, here's my take. Yet another subject on this channel. What do I know? I'm a multifaceted personality. So I'm talking about cosmetics and cameras and technology and food. And no, I will not talk about soap operas because I don't watch them. And the weather, we don't have weather right now. We have no weather. It's just blah. And that's it. So thanks for watching yet another video with me. And I hope you had a really good change into the new year. Hopefully 2018 brings you all the stuff you wanted and all the goals you wanted to accomplish. And I hope to see you again in my next video. Thanks for watching. Tschüss.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.